Well, hello there. Welcome back to Suicide Notes with Dr. Lulu. My name is Dr. Lulu, your host of the 5 Minute Suicide Tips Show. And today we're going to continue reading from A Teen's Life, which is my second best selling book. We're going to continue with Suicide 101. We're getting into the thick of things now. So I'm more excited now because we're really going to start learning more and more. And so if you remember that last week we talked about basically the numbers, the fact that suicide is extremely prevalent in the world. It's almost what I like to call a pandemic. Yes, because it's global. Like no part of the world that is not affected by suicide. And sadly, we don't know the true numbers. So we're going to continue reading from chapter 3 of my book. And so we're going to start by saying, imagine if we could obtain accurate numbers and somehow count every single suicide in the whole wide world. How many will there be? Imagine that. One every second? The WHO called it a serious global public health issue. And yet, only 38 countries in the whole world have suicide prevention strategies. Only 38 countries. And Nigeria is not one of them. No, sadly. But we're going to change all of that. Yes, we are. And so imagine a world where one precious life is lost to suicide every 20 seconds. Remember, I told you guys last week that the WHO has predicted that by the year 2020, there's going to be one suicide every 20 seconds. So imagine, I don't know any other disease process or any other kind of entity, world war, whatever, COVID, anything that's killing someone, one person every 20 seconds. And yet no one is talking about it. Dr. Lulu, what's up with that? I don't know, but we're going to try to change that. We're going to start talking about suicide. So maybe we can even prevent it, right? So what kind of world would that be? And that is not considering all the accidental or unreported suicides. Because I strongly believe that most suicides are not reported. So what if there was a pandemic of a deadly virus outbreak that kills one person every 20 seconds? I promise you, I wrote this book before COVID, but I used the word pandemic even then because I think it's a pandemic proportions. So my guess is everyone would be in arms, right? Running for cover. Everybody would try to do something if it was a virus that was killing someone every 20 seconds. Like literally everybody would be trying to do something, right? Unfortunately, suicide is that deadly virus today. Yet much of the world looks the other way, pretends not to care, completely ignores it, or is largely silent about it, making the stigma even worse. Yes. So yeah, I'm reading from my second book, and this is good stuff. We're talking about numbers when it comes to suicide, okay? So suicide characteristics differ based on each country's economic status. Overall, more men die by suicide than women. Then again, there are variations based on the economic status of the country. In richer countries, 3 times more men die by suicide than women, but in low and middle income countries, the ratio is 1.5 men to each woman. So there are more women dying by suicide in low socioeconomic and low income countries. So in most Western countries, suicide rates are highest in middle-aged men and men who are 70 and over. But young children aged 10 to 34, they're particularly more vulnerable. So we're going to stop at that. Sadly, I don't have the true numbers when it comes to Nigeria. I've actually tried to find it. I'm going to be working hand in hand with Dare and Manny. We're going to try to get mental health issues and suicide to the front burner. We're going to try to start looking at numbers and trying to figure out what can we do at the grassroots level. And so one of the things I'm doing is what I'm doing right now. And we're going to follow suit with the radios and podcasts and wherever else Nigerians are. So on that note, I'm going to say, if you would like to get a copy of this book, kindly call 0803-786-6124. And if you'd like to leave me a message, if you have any questions, my email is suicide notes with Dr. Lulu at gmail.com. And doctor is DR. And by the way, I mentioned last week that I have a podcast, and I just mentioned the word podcast again. So, yes, my podcast is called Suicide Pages and is available anywhere podcasts are found. So, on that note, I'll see you guys next week. Next week, remember, the life you save might be yours. So, be compassionate to yourself. And maybe I should define compassion. Compassion is empathy plus the willingness to help. All right? Toodles. See you soon. Bye.